All right, welcome everybody. It's about 2 p.m., so we'll get started. If you're just joining us, if you wouldn't mind muting yourself for the beginning of the presentation, and then we'll get everyone vocal as we move on. But welcome to Codementor Office Hours for today. My name's Mark, and I'll be sort of moderating today. And we're really excited to have Hemal Shah, product manager over at Twitter, with us today. And I'll just give a quick little intro to him, and then he'll take over with giving us a nice rundown on Fabric. And then we'll have some Q&A. So Hemal was previously a senior developer advocate for Fabric. He's now a PM building products for Fabric. He's been with Crashlytics for almost 2 years. Fabric's part of Crashlytics. And he's based out of their Boston office where Crashlytics was headquartered and then acquired by Twitter. So without further ado, I want to hand it over to Hemal, and he's going to give us a rundown on Fabric and building some great mobile apps. So take it away.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to talk to you today about building better apps with Crashlytics. Now, Crashlytics is part of Fabric. Fabric is a modular mobile platform by Twitter that makes it easier for developers to build great apps. Fabric is made out of 3 modular kits that address the most common and pervasive challenges that all app developers face: stability, distribution, revenue, and identity. It combines the services of Crashlytics, MoPub, and Twitter to help you build better and more stable apps. But what do I mean by better? Who decides that? Well, of course, it's our users. As mobile app developers, we work tirelessly to create and craft amazing user experiences for our customers. What happens when that experience fails? The apps crash. Take this user, for instance. They just experienced a crash. How do you think that made them feel? What do you think they're going to do next? I mean, we're all app users ourselves, so let me turn this around on you for a second. Think back to the last time your app crashed. How did it make you feel? Were you angry? Frustrated? Did you stop using the app? Did you delete it from your device altogether? Matter of fact is, when an app crashes, it's the leading indicator of user churn. Now you've just lost that user. Let's look at another example. This user just had your app crash on them. They were actually trying to make a purchase and buy that $2.99 virtual good you and your team took a month to create. But the app crashed, and now you've lost out not only on that $2.99 purchase, but on the entire lifetime value of the customer. That user's gone. This is why stability matters. So what do you do about that? Clearly, it's a problem. You're losing revenue, you're not retaining users, so you make it a high priority. You and your team scramble to try and fix these issues and try and plug the holes in your app, but by doing that, all the features that your customers have been requesting for the last month get put on the shelf. And when you do that, your app becomes stale, your users get bored, and they stop using your app. In today's mobile app ecosystem, you need to constantly be listening to, getting feedback from your customers, using that to iterate and improve. And if you don't, it's incredibly hard to succeed. So what started as a basic stability issue suddenly takes everything your team has done to build up this user base, and it all comes crashing down. You start back at step 1. And what is step 1? Well, of course, it's stability. Fabric allows you to do some amazing things. Leverage the power of identity, take advantage of distribution channels, and monetize your user base. But all these things are built on top of your app's foundation. And if your app's foundation isn't stable, it's incredibly hard to be successful. Stability has become table stakes in today's mobile app ecosystem. So my name is Hemal Shah. I'm a PM on the Crashlytics team. At Crashlytics, we're a team of mobile app developers just like yourselves. We've experienced the pain of apps crashing. We've spent the last few years building some tools that are simple, easy to use, and solve those incredibly complex issues of stability that plague the entire mobile app ecosystem. So what does that look like today? The Crashlytics kit is a part of Fabric. You can use this kit to start fixing your issues today. And don't worry if you have issues, you're not alone. All apps crash, but understanding why can help you build a better one. And that's why we built Crashlytics. There are only so many hours in the day that you and your team can spend testing your app, testing old features rather than building new ones. But if you can leverage the power of beta testers and test your app before it goes live in the App Store and fix core stability issues, you could really set yourself up for success. And that's why we built beta. And now that your app is live in the App Store, you want to understand how many users are engaging with it, how many times are they launching it, How much time are they even spending in your app? And if you can take that data and combine it with your crash reporting data, you can take your understanding of your app's usage and, more importantly, stability to the next level. And that's why we built Answers, our real-time analytics product. So today, the Crashlytics Kit is much more than crash reporting. It's a suite of products to give you, the developer, all the tools you need to tackle the issues of stability in your app. I'm going to walk you through each of these products today, and I'll show you how simple they are to use. So you can go home, take this kit, and tackle these issues today. So let's start at step 1. Identifying and tracking your crashes. So why is crash reporting a problem we set out to solve a few years ago at Crashlytics? Without a stable base, you can't monetize your application, you can't retain users, and you certainly can't grow your user base. It's particularly hard to grow your user base when people are saying not so nice things about your application. Those dreaded 1-star reviews. And a lot of times, these reviews have nothing to do with the features or functionality you built. It's just one user with a poor experience, and they're generally more vocal than the folks who are actually using the application as expected. The problem is there's nothing actionable you can do here. Sometimes you get a little more information, and you might know the OS version or the phone that crashed, but still, you can't take action on this. And then you have that one guy that took time out of his day to give you a 1-letter, 1-star review. Awesome. Nothing you can do about that. You have no idea what this user's problems are, but it's a high likelihood that's a stability issue, and that's what we wanted to solve at Crashlytics. We wanted to give developers tools to get ahead of these stability issues and take action on them before more reviews like this happen. So what does a great crash reporting solution look like? Well, first, it needs to be easy to integrate, powerful, and give you actionable data. You need to understand the impact of all of your issues, so you can have thousands of issues coming in, but you need to be alerted when issues raise in severity or new issues open up. Lastly, you need diagnostic tools to help you dive deep and help you understand issues that are caused by particular users or particular types of context in your code. So let's start talking about easy, powerful, and actionable. We can visit a crash report on an iOS device, and clearly it's super easy to understand. But if I was looking for something more actionable, and if I look real hard, I can see the word crash. Maybe if I look a little harder, I can see Twitter. But this is still nonsensical memory addresses that I can do nothing about. What I really want this to look like is I want to see the file name, the line number that crashed, the version of the app that crashed, and how many times it's crashed in the wild. Not only that, but I want it categorized into an issue and prioritized amongst all other issues in my application, so I know what to focus on first that will make the highest impact. And once you know what to focus on, you need diagnostic tools available to see how this issue is trending over time, the device, the operating system mix. Report the sensors available on the device so you can know if it was jailbroken or rooted. Then, you need to get into the stack trace and see the exception that was raised and the line of code that caused it. So now how do you get this set up? How easy is it to get a report like this? Well, since we think that crash reporting is so core to development, it should be there from day one when you start writing code. It should be just part of your IDE. So here's a sample app called Cannonball, which we made, and you can download in the App Store today in Android Studio with one minor yet significant modification, the Fabric plugin. What the Fabric plugin allows us to do is seamlessly choose our application, choose the Crashlytics kit, modify the project for crash reporting, I'll show you the diff, you can accept these changes, then just launch the app one time, and it's literally configured, ready to go, ready to start reporting crashes. There's no looking for API keys, no looking through documentation, your app will just start reporting crashes. Now what makes this possible is our deep IDE and build tool integration. And it's not just Eclipse, Android Studio, or IntelliJ, but also Xcode on iOS. And not only do we configure the application on onboarding, but we're doing things in the background that are required to process crashes, like uploading mapping files to turn deobfuscating crashes on Android, or dsym files to take that Apple crash report you saw and turn it into a human-readable report like you saw in Crashlytics. Similarly, we integrate just as deeply with build tools like Ant, Maven, and Gradle. So what about understanding the impact once you get these crashes coming in? The mobile ecosystem is continually changing. New devices are getting released, new operating systems are out, there are new features like extensions in iOS 8 that all have their own nuances. And the funny thing about the most basic crash reporting solution is the worst thing that happens when they're not reporting crashes to you, so you don't even know that they're not even working. Now that's a problem that one of our partners found out. Strava was using Google Play's built-in crash reporting solution, and they were seeing some crashes come in, but they didn't think it was telling them a full story of their app, so they integrated Crashlytics, and to their unpleasant surprise, they found out in the first week 20,000 occurrences of a new issue that they didn't even know was happening. They had a crash reporting solution integrated, but it wasn't even reporting their top issue. So obviously this is not ideal. So just like Strava, we want to fix our top issue for the Cannonball app, ranked by the number of users it's impacting, the number of crashes occurring, then drill into that issue, and if we're lucky, just knowing the line of code in the stack trace will give us all the information we need to debug this issue. It can't be overstated the impact of fixing your top issue can have on your application. For Strava, that meant fixing their top issue that we uncovered had a 3 to 4% improvement in the amount of users that crashed. So they went from about 5% of their daily users crashing to about 1%. And that's thousands and thousands of sessions every day where the user's experiencing and ending positively and completing what they wanted to do, as opposed to negatively not being able to submit their data, then they churn, and they say bad things about the application. So what about diagnosing that very specific problem? Just knowing all your crash reports that come in and which ones are top priority doesn't give you all the information you need sometimes. Sometimes you have a particular user writing in, and you want to solve their problem or a specific context, like a level in your game that crashes. Now that's a problem that Runkeeper was having. Runkeepers were having users write into customer support, say they were experiencing a crash, and Runkeeper was spending hours and hours of their time trying to map that customer support ticket back to a particular crash with no luck. What they really wanted to do was be able to look for a particular username and find that crash that was happening for the user. Now at Crashlytics, we're constantly processing all of your crash reports and all those stack traces and regular data you get through regular crash reports, but also metadata that comes in, and we're doing that in real time. One of the pieces of metadata that we offer is user ID. User ID comes through on the individual session, on the individual crash report. So right with that standard diagnostic information like the device, the stack trace, you can actually see which user is experiencing that crash. And this is super useful for debugging particular customer support issues. Now setting the user ID is very simple. Here's an example from the Cannonball application, where we're using the Twitter Core Kit session management to record username and user identifier. And that's what you saw in the previous crash report. Now sometimes it's not always about the user. Sometimes it's about a typical type of user or particular context, like that level of game in your app, that you want to be able to keep track of and index and search for problems with. And that's where keys come in. Keys are another piece of metadata that we let you log in your crash report that get indexed and are searchable in real time. In this case, we're looking for all the issues that might happen in the nature theme of Cannonball. We heard it might be a buggy section of the app, so we just want to get a full picture of what's happening there. Now, just like IDs, keys are available on the crash report with all the other diagnostic information. Now, keys are just really key value pairs that help give you contextual clues to go back and figure out very specific issues that are happening in your application. In our case, we log things like the theme, countdown timer, amount of words in the word bank, all the things that might be indicative to what's occurring in the crash or could be causing a problem. And keys are really simple. You only need one line of code. Here's an example in the Cannonball app where we're logging the activity before we open it up. Now, keys are very available for Android and iOS. So let's say you know the user, you know the context, you have the full stack trace, but you still can't figure out how a user is getting themselves into a crash situation. That's where you need to be able to recreate the steps the user took, and that's where custom logs come in. Custom logs are a way that you can log an audit trail of what the user is doing as they go through the application. Here, we're searching for every single time a user hits the save button on a poem in the Cannonball app. Logs are availably similar as keys with the rest of the data for a particular crash report. Because it's not always the context the user crashes in, sometimes it's the order of operations they got there that's causing the crash, and you can't possibly test every scenario a user may take in your application. So this is where using logs is an easy way to diagnose issues. And logs, similar to keys, are just one line of code. Here's the example from the Cannonball app, where we're logging where the login was skipped, since we might think it's useful to know down the line when debugging. This is exactly what Runkeeper wanted. Runkeeper wanted a way to know when a customer support ticket came in, they can map it back to a specific report, recreate the issue, understand what's happening, reach back out to that user, and then say they were sorry because they understood what was going on. They'd gain the user's trust back and keep them loyal to their application. So everybody wins. So diagnosing issues quickly is great. But what's even cooler is being able to prevent future crashes from happening. How many people out there have experienced a crash every time they open a particular app? I know I have. The reason that happens a lot of times is because of bad or corrupt cache data. Trying to access that every time the user opens the application will continue to cause a crash, but you can take action on that to get the user out of the situation. You can listen for a handler that knows whether a crash previously happened on the last time the app was launched. If so, go ahead, clear the bad cache, which helps you become more proactive about setting that user up for success so they don't crash every time they open the app. And that's a great way to prevent future crashes. So we're able to set up crash reporting pretty easily. We have a full picture of what's going on. We were able to diagnose very specific issues. But what we really want to do is understand all these issues and stability before we ship the app to the App Store. And even more than that, we want to make sure our app is looking great and has all the features our user wants, and that it's usable. So that's where beta distribution comes into play. Now, what makes a great beta distribution solution? First, you need to have happy testers. Without happy testers, you won't get feedback, you won't understand issues or uncover any problems. And if testers are confused and can't install their application, there's no point in running a beta test. You need an easy, powerful workflow. You want something that complements your existing workflow, that doesn't make you adapt to another workflow. You want something that's cross-platform, doesn't require App Store approval before you can get tester feedback. Lastly, you need total visibility. You may have thousands of testers installing your build on different OSs, different devices, maybe in different states. You need to know what everybody is doing and when. So let's start. How do you keep testers happy? When beta started out as a labs project, we were talking to a bunch of developers, and we're saying, what's the #1 thing that we could do to help you with your beta testing? And the resounding answer that everybody came back with was, don't confuse my testers, don't require an account. I don't want them to know what a Crashlytics is or who a Crashlytics is. I just want them to get the app, install it, and start giving me feedback. So we listened. And when a tester gets an invite from beta by Crashlytics, it's clearly from you. It's your icon in the spotlight. We even use your icon colors to highlight the rest of the experience so that it feels similar for the tester. It almost feels white labeled. And there are no logins required. There's access to previous builds, access to release notes, and we even have in-app updates or alert the users so they know that they're always using the latest version. All productive to keep users happy. So it should be easy as well. It should integrate with your workflow. You don't want to take time out of your day when you're writing code to try to figure out how to take an APK or upload it somewhere and generate an IPA and upload that somewhere weird. You just want to write code, stop, send it out to testers, get feedback, and then continue with what you were doing. And that's what you can do with beta by Crashlytics. It should be as simple as dragging and dropping an APK file, or on Xcode, doing a build archive that would automatically alert you when there's an IPA ready and let you send it out similarly. You can enter a username, see the gravatar pulled in so you know exactly who you're sending it to. You can even create some release notes here, and then in a matter of seconds, your testers will have a build and they can start giving you feedback. It's that easy, it's super simple. And what's even more convenient is that it's right in your IDE. You can even see when they installed it, the devices that they're using, the API levels that they're running. You get all that information right here. You can even add testers or groups from your IDE. So groups are a great way to streamline your workflow. Groups are cross-org, so you can reuse groups across different applications. So in our case, we're using 2 groups to test the Cannonball app. We're using the Cannonball team for testing quickly with the nightly builds that might be a little bit buggier, and then when we think we have a stable build, we're opening that up to the entire Twitter Android team. So what makes that even easier is we can integrate that directly into our build server configuration. Here's an example in our build.gradle where we're specifying the team and the location for release notes. It's a simple one-line upload. Every time you do a build, that group you specified will automatically get a release. If you're a developer that's worried about just getting a build out or worried about phases of the development area, someone else can manage that group for you and who's in it. You just need to know the groups that should get the build or what stage they get them at, and it's super convenient. And of course, this works across all build server configurations. So bots, Jenkins, Gradle, you get to decide. Here's another example that's a little different that show you Gradle flavors. And in this case, let's say you want to test a free versus a paid version with different testers. You can easily specify different groups who'd get the different application versions. Now, staying along the same lines of trying to streamline your workflow and make things convenient, you can use share links to create a link to a specific build. Like, let's say if you wanted a stable build only to go out to investors. But the way we use it is we create a link and put that in an internal wiki. So anybody who comes along and wants to test can get that link, sign up, and we don't have to manage email lists anymore. We even put a domain restriction on there of twitter.com, so we only know it's Twitter employees who can get access to the app. Now what's great about this is it will automatically create a group for you, so anyone who uses it will be lumped into that group in case you need to update them again at some point with a later build. And this is a great way to streamline your workflow. So now, testers have builds. There's a lot of stuff going on, but how do we know how's it going, or do we have visibility into everything that's happening in our beta build? And if you check out the beta dashboard, you can see everything that's going on. You can add testers, create share links, filter by who's in what stage, but you probably want to go in and see the health of your beta distribution and how many people are using it and giving you feedback, installing it. In this case, I can see we have only one user that's launched our application, so we're clearly not getting enough engagement here. I want to go follow up with all these testers who haven't launched the application and figure out why. With beta, not only are we reporting who's installed the application, but who's launched it, so I can go follow up individually with testers and make sure they're not forgetting to report any issues. So for particular, I can drill into people like Andy, who's installed the app but hasn't launched it. You also have an audit trail to see what testers are doing in real time, and an audit trail of what developers are doing, so who might be sending out builds besides yourself and your organization. Multiple people might be inviting testers, changing release notes. This gives you complete visibility into all of that. So you have happy testers. You are able to iterate quickly and get them builds. We have complete visibility into what's going on. And with that complete visibility, what we really want to know is how stable this build is, so whether or not we can go to the App Store. And that's the real power of having crash reporting and beta together. So you can see easily for this beta build the top issues and go in and address those before you ship to the App Store. What's even better, with Beta by Crashlytics, you automatically get user IDs, even if you're not logging them explicitly like we looked at before. And we'll automatically tag them in your crash report, so you can follow up with them directly and see what issues they ran into and follow up with them to close them out. And if they don't remember how to reproduce that issue, luckily you use logs and keys, so you can tell them exactly what they did to recreate that issue and help you solve that problem. So our app is wired up for stability. We've run a pretty successful beta with some great feedback and solved some stability issues. But now, let's talk about how Answers can help you once you ship to the App Store and beyond. So your app's now live in the App Store. You can use Crashlytics. You've used beta. What's the next logical question you have? How many people are using my app? Is it one? Hopefully there are a few more. And you want to understand how these users are engaging with your app, whether or not they're being retained, how long they're spending in your app, and Answers can allow you to understand that. Answers isn't like any other analytics tool, and let me tell you why. First, it's truly real time. No longer do you have to sit and refresh on your dashboard only to get data that was just 4 hours stale. Answers will tell you what's happening in the moment. Next, Answers is constantly analyzing your data. It's not passively reporting it. We'll constantly look at trends, tell you what you need to look at and when you need to look at it. It's like having your own data analyst. And finally, being part of the Crashlytics kits allows Answers to report stability metrics that other analytics tools just can't provide. So by working together with Crashlytics, we can give you a really unique, powerful metric around stability. I'll walk through a few of these things first, but I wanted to talk to you about how you can get up and running with Answers. When talking with our customers, we've heard many times the pain of integrating an analytics SDK. They add their custom code to their app, ship to the App Store, and then they realize they had an issue with the integration, and now their data is useless. So with Answers, we took a lot of time to make that onboarding process as simple and painless as possible. So let me show you the code that's required to turn on Answers. Literally nothing. It just works. So then how do you actually turn this on for your app? Let me show you. You start in the Crashlytics dashboard and then click on the Answers pane. You can select the app that you want to enable Answers for, so either all apps in your organizations or just one app. I'll pick this app for now. With just one click, we'll open the data stream and gather user session data. And because this product is truly real-time, you'll be able to see a success screen, hopefully within 30 seconds, and dive right into that data and see what users are doing in your app immediately. This is so simple, no code required, no submitting to the App Store, just one click. So you have access to the dashboard. What do you do next? We talked to a lot of our customers, and they really expressed the pain of having to, every morning, pull down data sources from crash reporting tools, internal databases, metrics to understand a daily report. And these reports are typically really dense and hard to understand. So as this was described to me, this is what came to mind. It's no fun, nobody wants to look at them, they're a waste of time to put together. And with Answers, we really wanted to address this so you understood your app's health within seconds. And let me show you how we did that. We look here front and center, and Answers has your top key metrics. These are what you, the developers, told us what you cared about most. These metrics focus on three things: growth, stability, and engagement. Let's start with growth on the far left. We have daily active users, the number of unique users in your app on a given day. This is critical in understanding the success of your app. With daily new users, how did the top of your funnel look? Did that marketing campaign you just ran, was it successful? Did it meet your expectations? Next is monthly active users. Out of the users are coming that are into the top of the funnel, how many am I retaining? How many are applying to my 30-day active users? A really critical metric to understand how long-term growth and success is going. Next, stability, a crash-free user. What percent of my users have the experience I intend them to have? A crash-free experience on any given day. It's really critical to understand improving app stability over time. And next, what are users doing when they're in your app? How many sessions are they launching per day? How much time are they spending in your app? Session and session length will tell you that information. One of our customers, BuzzFeed, was really able to integrate Answers into their daily routine. They start every day with a cup of coffee, quickly look at the Answers dashboard, and look at their app's health to make sure everything's okay. It's that simple. So what's next? What if you look at the data and something's off? You really want to dig in a little deeper and find out what's going on. Answers lets you do that in a really easy way, and let me walk you through what I mean. The top of the page shows your real-time active users. How many users are in your app at that moment? We'll show you the trailing 24 hours so you can look back and see how many users are in your app at each time of the day, when the peaks and valleys were, and how many users were in your app at that time, and how that compares to the current number of users in your app. You can look at these key metrics I just walked you through, and if something looks off, maybe sessions are a little lower than I expected, I can just, with one click, drop down and look at the long-term trend with just some other metrics that relate to that. Was it because my sessions to users was off, or was it my DAU? Next, session length. Median session length is a really powerful metric, but maybe you're interested in just your power users, how much time they're spending in your app. What's that 75th percentile? Again, I just need to dig a little deeper. And for testing purposes, you'll probably want to know a little bit more about your audience, the device, their OSs, and with Answers, you can easily see that information over time just by scrolling down one page. You can track your build adoption, how many users are on each build over time, and it's dead simple. We took a lot of time to not have endless drop-down menus and filters. All the metrics you need should just be one click away. Now, I mentioned Answers is actively looking at your data. I'm curious how many people have a data analyst on your team. Probably only a few of you, if not just a couple. Now, a data analyst is probably going to look at your long-term trend, if you have them, and do some statistical analysis to see if your trend is off what they'd expect. Some of you might be doing this on your own. Some of you might not be doing it at all because you're busy. You need to focus on developing your app, not statistical analysis. So Answers can be a resident data ninja. Let us help you. Let us help you understand your data and analyze your data constantly in real time and tell you if something's off. Now let me show you what I mean with a few examples. First, Answers will give you a daily report every morning. So for all the apps in your organizations, you can see all of your key metrics and how they've been trending over time. We'll even surface up a TLDR if you only have a few seconds, which is the one metric you need to look at. If I wanted to learn a little more, I can always access it with one click to get to my dashboard. It's a really easy and great way to start off your day. Next, we're constantly looking at and analyzing your data in real time. Something's off, that's not always visible to the naked eye by just looking at a chart. Answers will let you know. Now let's look at an example here. The crash-free user rate seems to have dropped just a little bit, and with Answers we'll let you know that this was unexpected. We're using past performance as a predictor of future outcomes, and if your data drops outside of that expected band, we'll let you know. You can see here that Answers will detect a drop before it drops severely. Now that's incredibly powerful. But we know you also don't have all the time in the world to sit and stare at your dashboard and look at these alerts or wait for them to pop up. So what do we do about that? Of course, Answers will send you notifications for really key metrics that they start to drop. Like if your crash-free users rate drops, we know your stability metrics will drop, and Answers will alert you in real time and send you an email to look at a typical day's trend and understand if something is off. And if it is off, you see one of these emails to go in quickly and diagnose the issue before more users experience the same pain. So Answers is constantly analyzing your data, which is like having a data analyst on your team. And this is really powerful, but being part of the Crashlytics kits affords Answers some really unique metrics. Of course, when designing it, we wanted these two products to talk to one another. Crashlytics can tell you how many crashes are happening, and Answers can tell you a lot of information about what's going on in your app or how many users are engaging with it. You can do some really cool things if you combine these two tools. Let me show you a couple examples. Let's go back to the issue we were just looking at. Crash-free users dropped. Just by scrolling down the page, you can see that all top issues related to that and rank them by the percent of the DAU that they are impacting by that issue, so you know what to dive into first. Looks like here we have one particular issue that's impacting over 1% of our DAUs. So this is a big problem we need to fix. And with one click, you can go straight back to the crash report and figure out what's going on and get it fixed out. Our customers have found this extremely valuable in using this particular feature. Here's an example from Hootsuite. By using Answers, Hootsuite was able to figure out these top issues twice as fast as before and increase their stability rates over 99% crash-free users. This is an incredible achievement for them. More importantly, by fixing stability, the foundation of their app, they're able to increase user retention, their app store's ratings, which likely led to more organic distribution. It all starts with stability. You need to have a stable app. So let's look at another example, launch day. Think back to the last time you shipped a new build to the App Store. It's really exciting. You're getting new features and fixes into the hands of your users, but it's also a little stressful. Many of our customers told us they do a 1 or 5 or 10% rollout before fully releasing their builds. So we want to make sure that you can address any issues immediately by giving you all the data you need in real time to understand if there are any issues. With Answers, you can easily compare your builds, the most recent builds on top to previous ones, check out stability or engagement issues, and get them resolved. And if you want to track how it's being adopted in real time, Answers will show you that. You can see the chart on the right will show you the real-time adoption rates of your builds. We've heard from our customers this is really fun to watch on build launch day, especially when you're rolling out to 1, 5, 10% of your customers. You know how your app is growing and improving in real time. Here's another example from Runkeeper. Runkeeper was able to save precious development time from the critical day of launch, so developers don't have to analyze data or pull down reports from analytics and crash reporting tools just to put them together. You don't have to do that. Answers makes it dead simple to understand how your new build is doing in the wild instantly in real time. So that's Answers. Answers is real time. Understand how you're using your app right now. Answers is your own analyst to look at your data and let you know if there's something that you need to look at and spend your time developing rather than digging for answers. So I've talked about the Crashlytics kit. Use Crashlytics to understand why your app is crashing and address those issues immediately. Use beta to leverage your beta testers to fix issues before your app goes live into the App Store. And use Answers to understand how people are engaging with your app, get an understanding of your app stability, and take that to the next level. Together, these products make a suite of products that give you all the tools you need to address the issues of stability within your app. Now, of course, Crashlytics is a kit. Join with the Twitter kit and the MobileHub kit to make it easy to tackle stability, distribution, monetization, and identity. Now, these kits are found in Fabric, which is a modular mobile platform by Twitter that makes it easy for developers to build great apps. So for more information, check out fabric.io to read more or get started today. So So appreciate your time. Thanks so much. And of course, happy coding.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hemel. Let's jump into Q&A. I know some of you guys have some questions, so feel free to use the Q&A app, or if you don't have that ready to go, you can just chat them in as well. Anyone want to kick stuff off? I know Yogesh emailed us in a question. Yogesh, would you like to jump in with that one? Otherwise, I can read it. Let's make sure you're unmuted here. Hey, Yogesh, are you there? Oh, sure, I can read it. Okay, I'll do that. So, Hemel, Yogesh Kumar, regarding analytics for Fabric, he was wondering, is there any way I can track user installations and other things about the app? I used Parse for one of the apps I worked on, and they provided very rudimentary ways to track anything with the app. So he's curious about a little bit more about analytics.
Absolutely, that's a great question. So if I understand, he wants to know how to track app installations?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, great question. So with answers, you can actually see the daily new users over time. So we're basing that metric off of who's installed your app, who's coming in that's new, and then when we take that, we can compute that also in our MAU number, so you know how many of those users that have installed your app are continuing to come back as well. And we base it off the installation right now.
Gotcha. Oscar, did you have a question? I'll unmute you here. Where are they? Let's see. Go ahead there.
Oh.
Would you prefer to type in the question? Okay, so yeah, in the chat here. So Oscar's wondering about Unity support.
It's a great question. Unity support is definitely something that we've had a lot of internal conversations around, just because we know how passionate and how great the gaming community is. So I'm really glad you brought that up. Actually, I'd love to hear some more, so if you want to personally email me, h@twitter.com, we should definitely follow up and we can talk a little more about that.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions they'd like to jump in on with Hemel? Looks like that's all the questions for now. A couple other ones that were emailed in from some folks that doesn't look like they're in attendance, but someone was just curious, would you recommend Fabric to people that are brand new to mobile development, or would you consider it more of an advanced tool?
Oh, God, I would totally recommend it to new developers as well as experienced developers, and there's a few reasons why I say that. With Fabric, we really tackled the challenge to make it easier for any developer to get up and running and just build the best apps possible. We made the installation onboarding process super simple. I think like the record right now is probably like a minute to get it up and running. And I think that was even probably by one of our more junior developers that have given it a try. But we also power the largest apps on the App Store right now. So it's Battlefield tested and trusted by the most advanced developers. So I think that's one of the beauties of Fabric, is that it's totally accessible to new developers, but it's trusted and used by today's top developers as well.
Awesome. Looks like Yogesh had another question. He was saying that he was just getting started with Fabric, and the difficulty was that it required setting up an organization, which he couldn't figure out.
Oh, wow. Yikes. So the organization that Yogesh is referring to, just else, is when you get up running with Fabric, you enter in an organization, basically what you want to call your dashboard. Sometimes people put in company names, sometimes they make things up. You know, I'm actually concerned that you had some trouble there. It should have been pretty quick for you. If you get a chance, email support@fabric.io, and feel free to reference this or my name, and we'll definitely get you up and running today.
Awesome. Couple other ones we got over email. Are you guys seeing a standard project type or style of app that Fabric really excels with, or do you think it's pretty universal at this point across all sort of styles of applications?
I'm always impressed by the types of developers and the ways that they use Fabric and the types of applications they use it in. I expected to see a more traditional build approach, and we've seen everything under the sun. We've seen some really custom advanced setups. We've seen people use some of our kits in really creative ways. So, for example, the usage of the Twitter kit. So I think it's really applicable to any style of app or all different types. We really haven't been able to just see one specific set that this has really been super successful for.
Gotcha. Last two questions for me. Anyone else please feel free to jump in via chat. Looks like we got some good chats going on. Last two questions we got were, why Fabric over other platforms? In terms of crash reporting. Obviously, you told us sort of all the pros, but what's really different that no one else is touching?
Yeah, I think some of the things that we focus on truly make it catered better for the developer. So we offer the whole idea of modularity, right?
Mm-hmm.
With Fabric, you can really pick and choose the kits that you want to have in your app, so it removes the bloat. We understand that it's really precious to have an app that's small in size, and we want to cater to that need. Secondly, our teams are dedicated and focusing on building the best and most lightweight crash reporting solution out there. So we've had competitors switch over. We've had customers switch over to us from competitors. And like I showed in that example, we'll get 10, 15% more crash reports or different types of crash reports that they haven't seen just because of the trade-offs that we've made in the way that we handle crashes on the device that are better tailored for apps or developers. And I think that's one of the unique things about the platform there is that the choices that we make day in and day out are truly from the mindset of developers because this is a product designed by developers.
Awesome. Looks like Christian Garner has a question. He says, awesome presentation, Hemel. How does the beta sign-up process work for the beta testers on iPhone? Do they need to download an app or a provisioning profile?
Oh, man, it's the coolest thing possible, man. I highly recommend you try it out. I guess I'll spoil the surprise for you a little bit, but you have to promise me that you give it a try. What you do is you email the tester, and that tester, like I said, gets a branded email that looks exactly like it's coming from you because we start to use the colors of your icon to even personalize that email. And all the user does is click on the install button and right away allow them to sign up with a name or whatever it may be just so you know who's on it, and then get that build right away on their device. They don't have to install any other apps or anything like that. They can use the web clip for management so they can always be able to see all the apps that they're testing or whatnot maybe, but we really remove the bloat. We really remove the idea that they need to have some sort of login or some sort of account or anything like that because we wanted to make it frictionless for testers to just start using your app so you start getting feedback.
Awesome. Yeah, so if anyone's testing on iOS, definitely check that out. Last question on my side, how has being part of Twitter changed the product?
Ooh, I think a lot of times you hear acquisitions being really detrimental to the company growth, and I've seen the exact opposite with Twitter. With Crashlytics, when Twitter acquired us, it really just felt like they basically were like, here's a jet engine for your mission, and just go and run with it. Twitter is really supportive of the app ecosystem, the developer ecosystem, which is why they chose to keep products like Crashlytics free and subsidize that cost because they truly believe in making better apps, more stable apps in the app ecosystem because everybody wins. So it's been truly remarkable to be part of a company that supports our mission and just gives us all the resources we need to make that happen.
Awesome. Well, if no one has any other questions, I think we'll wrap this up. But this will be it's being recorded and it will be up on the Codementor YouTube channel. And obviously, want to encourage anyone, if anyone has any specific questions about Fabric, obviously reach out to Hemel. And if you're working on any new mobile applications and ever need assistance, Codementor.io is obviously at your disposal. And thank you guys so much for tuning in today. And thank you so much, Hemel, for your time. And with that, I think we'll say good afternoon and good luck building.
Thanks so much for having me, guys.
Thanks. All right, take care, everybody.
Take care.